Welcome back to the ProSource Podcast. Today I am joined by representatives from Cabinetworks. We have Kristin Phipps for the Senior Brand Director for Medallion Cabinets, and then Heather Argo, National Trainer for Cabinetworks. For anyone wondering, Medallion and Yorktowne are both brands underneath Cabinetworks. And so we'll be able to differentiate those brands today a little bit more. But I'm very excited to learn more about both the brands with two experts that we have on. So Kristin and Heather, please, whoever wants to go first, please tell me a little bit more about your backgrounds and role for the Cabinetworks group.
My name's Kristin Phipps. I have brand and product for the Yorktowne and Medallion brands. I've been with cabinetry about 15 years, and I've kind of managed brand and communications and product for everything from stock level cabinetry all the way up to custom. So as you can imagine, Heather and I get very excited when we get to talk about these brands because they are so near custom, and we feel like there's such a world of possibilities here for designers. So thank you for having us.
Yeah. And I've been in the industry for over 20 years. I started as a retail designer. So I, sat in the trenches. I designed the kitchens, sold the jobs. So I love to integrate that into the work that I do as a national sales trainer. So we're actually working on new product launch content currently, and I conducted a webinar today. So I love that interaction with designers and being able to explain the benefits of a product that assists them in the design portion, not just making the pretty kitchen, but they have to be integrated and connected, which I believe these brands do very well.
Yes, and they are very popular from what I understand amongst all of our Trade Pro members. I'd already touched about, how both are under Cabinetworks Group, but there's also many other brands under Cabinetworks. How would you describe these two brands to someone that may not be aware of their existence? If anyone's listening and that's a possibility, I'm not sure if that is a possibility, but just in case.
So I think the way that we position these brands is that we really lead with a fine furniture finish. So this is a very near custom brand. It is very much, we consider it to be designer brand because it is so intricate. Designers can approach this and really find the mods and SKUs and even finishes and textures that they need to make a unique look for each of their clientele who tend to have more luxurious tastes than the average consumer.
And I would add to you from the designer perspective, what we're able to do in the sweet spot of factory modifications is steps above a basic semi-custom line. So we are considered semi-custom, but we dip into the custom realm as well. So we can build custom cabinets, but we do a ton of factory modifications, which really saves the designer time in designing, checking in multiple pieces and parts. And then, of course, installers then have less pieces and parts to put together in the field. So it makes the install go faster. And honestly, when you have less pieces and parts, you have less seams, and it just looks prettier at the end of the day. So that's part of the passion that I have with it.
Absolutely. And I feel like sometimes the more simpler it is, the better. Sometimes when you bog it down with too many different details, it's just chaotic looking. And in today's world, we want more simple.
And modifications will help with that too. So and I think part of what bogs it down with too many details is you have all these different door sizes and the lines don't line up and it just looks choppy. And that's part of what we can do to keep it consistent and clean and looks really good.
And I know both of the brands have solid industry history. Word on the street is that you are working on something called Pursuit of Excellence. Could you tell us a little bit more about what that is?
So that has been just an amazing feat this year for our team. We have invested in these brands and in the network that produces these here in America like never before. So our folks are absolutely dedicated to the pillars that our brands stand for and what that means to a designer and the way that they can sell with confidence to the consumer is these folks are meeting every day to talk about how to make a fine furniture finish and how to ensure that there's a extremely high caliber, luxurious product delivered in the consumer's home so that they're making memories in a kitchen that lasts for years and years to come. We take that very seriously. Our operations teams are absolutely in line with our values. In fact, I joke that they have a weekly meeting that's called Fine Furniture Finish, just to talk about making sure that we're calibrating our finishes, that we're always looking to kind of the next step improvement, and ensuring that our folks are well trained and able to execute that.
No, there's so much that goes into the finishing process, and even something as little as the type of lighting used in different areas of the plant so that everybody can see the color in the same way. And then also discovering that as we put people in roles where they're expected to see color, not everybody sees color the same way. So I know part of that process was putting people through the test to see what sort of color range their vision is in, and making sure that we have accurate people looking at colors and analyzing that, and then partnering with our color specialist at Sherwin-Williams to help us get all of that calibrated and in alignment.
Absolutely. And I know color could be tricky too, because even depending on which room you put it in, it can look different. And like you mentioned, person to person, some people might be just a slightly colorblind and they don't even know.
Yes.
So that's a good point to make too. And I think even just you guys bringing attention to this and how, difficult color can be brings designers and any trade pro member, I think, some confidence to look at Medallion or Yorktowne for their choosing for their clients, because they have that confidence that you guys are putting the attention to details there.
And we want to continue to inspire that confidence in the designer. We know that is, the real connection to the consumer. I was in one of our facilities this week, and they were talking about the increased protocol that they have for even training the finishers. Heather mentioned some of the color acuity, but as well, they're doing a great mix of hands-on and virtual training to make sure things like tip application is consistent and angle is consistent, and we're getting the right hang-ups. And so all of those little things all go together to make that fine furniture finish that we're so proud of and your designers have come to expect from us.
And just out of curiosity, I'm sure this has been on your radar as long as Medallion and Yorktowne has been in existence, right? But when has this initiative really took off, this like pursuit of excellence?
We kind of titled it that way this year. We've been working on continuous improvement for a very long time. Anybody who's familiar with the plant environment, and many of your designers have been on tours with us and seen the trainings we go through, the quality enhancements that we use, all the point of inspections. But we really kicked this off this year because we felt like there's a new generation of designers and kind of a more informed group of consumers who want to know what goes into making my cabinetry and what are the qualifications of the artisans that make that, and are we making sure that it's being applied the same way each time. So we really kicked it off this year. And as Heather mentioned, we provided a lot of information in the Pursuit of Excellence campaign just to show, here's all of the capital investments that we've made. Here's all the people investments that we've made. But most importantly, here's all the investments we've made in making sure the designer feels comfortable with our products and in selling those and recommending them to their clients.
We have a website dedicated to up-to-date information on that process too, because it's not just a one and done. Like we might do a product launch and then we wouldn't do another product launch for a few months. This is really a program that is in constant motion. It's never going to stop. It's something that we are continuing to improve in that Kaizen method. So there's a website that we've dedicated where we're going to constantly be updating the new improvements and things that we've changed. It could be boxes, could be construction, could be a variety of categories under that.
That's awesome. That makes it really easy too for people to just always go to that one place for up-to-date resources, or if they just need to check in on information. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the design and like product specifics of the brand. What is a MicroShaker style door, and why do you think it makes a good choice for design?
That I actually have in my office a couple samples because I'm doing our new product launch training, but we launched this door in April. This is our Finch door, and this is a MicroShaker. So this is a 3/8 frame versus like your standard shaker, which I have in my office behind me. I don't know if you can see it. It's like usually it's between a 2 and a 3 inch rail. So the idea is it's not quite a slab door and it's not quite a shaker, because we've seen shaker style done for so long. It is a classic look. But we have an audience of customers who are looking for something that's a little bit more fresh and maybe a bridge between contemporary and transitional. So it's a nice kind of meet in the middle style. It's definitely different, but it's something we've been seeing for some time now. We have 3 different versions. This is the one I just showed you is the narrowest at 3/8, but we have one that's a little curved and one that's a wider flat one, and this one here.
Yeah, I think the one you just showed me, we have that in our ProSource of St. Louis location. Where I work out of, and because I've went in there to do content, and I've definitely seen that door style up, and it looks so good. It looks so clean, and like you said, it is almost similar to Shaker, but it has a little bit of edge to it. No pun intended, right? It has a little bit of edge. It's a little bit more different and like fresh. It doesn't feel like the typical Shaker cabinet door style that people might want to get away from.
In trends as they evolve, it's just we want something that we haven't seen a million times before. And when something is fresh and has that edge to it, we tend to gravitate to that look. And that's how it kind of, if it grabs legs and becomes, mass market. And that's what we've seen with this style. It's certainly not a niche look. It's been around and we see a lot of people interested.
Yeah. It feels a little bit more finished too than just without, just a typical Shaker door style. Did you want to add to that at all, Kristin? I just wanted to double check before we move on.
The only thing I would mention is that Heather is obviously an extremely experienced designer, but she and her team travel the country talking to designers and going to trend forward shows. My team and I do the same, and we're always looking for this type of thing. And I actually know for a fact that the Finch door was identified by somebody who was traveling to a customer, and the customer said, "Hey, I've seen this look in some furniture magazines, and I would really like to know if we can make that available in cabinetry." And of course, we are always looking for great, our designers inform our product line. So all of those trend suggestions and inquisitions from our designers really make up the product line and make us proud to offer this designer product line.
Cabinetworks has introduced 10 new paint finish colors. And so we've seen this strong, bold color trend over the past year or even further than that. Do you think customers are moving away from all white kitchens, or do you think there's still a market there for all white kitchens? Is it 50-50?
Our designers are definitely like, please move away from all white kitchen.
Yeah.
So whenever I am in front of designer audiences, I think we as an industry are ready to see something different because they've been designing white Shaker kitchens every time someone comes in. And we've been seeing a tip of that actually starting as far back as like before 2020, like 2019. We launched a huge palette of colors as standard colors that they didn't have to go into the custom method of quoting them. And the idea is we wanted to be the first one with the customer to have the right green, the right blue, the right shade of white even. So we have this expanded palette. And in April, we launched, I think I have those too, actually. We launched this grouping of 10 colors that are meant to be kind of fashion forward. And as we know, in the fashion world and in interior design, everything shifts and changes periodically. So they could be more muted colors. Maybe eventually they'll be more bold. So we have a palette that we even have like these dusty gray, purpley tones. We have some terracottas. We have a variety of different greens and a variety of different blues. I have green in my own office here. And green and blue traditionally have always been the two biggest colors that customers are easily gravitate to, I should say, because they're typically the two biggest colors we see out in nature. So we're pretty comfortable with putting those within our home as well. But the idea is that they can be faster moving colors, and claret that I have on the Finch door here is kind of that purpley color. And we've had a lot of requests for this in a variety of different designs. So it's a fun palette to work with. And Kristin, I know you spent a lot of time getting that ready to launch. So what would you want to add to that too?
I think I echo everything that Heather said, and I would continue to reinforce that we're committed to continually refreshing that palette. Heather mentioned that we've got nearly 40 standard colors, but we do have custom color capability, and we are continually looking not only at our paints, but at our specialty finishes, at our stains, at what is happening in wood grain and wood grain demand. Interesting stat for you. Your company has ordered quite a few of the new colors. They have taken off a little bit faster than we even had hoped. So of course we're thrilled. Our folks in our plants are thrilled because it's very fun if you're in our plant to see those going by on the paint lines and being inspected at that last stop before we carefully ship them out. So just again, it makes it very fun for all of us, and designers definitely vote with their designs. So we look forward to seeing more.
Love that.
In color, it doesn't have to be like a kitchen doesn't have to be all green or all blue. There's certainly a variety of levels that customers are comfortable with adding it. And when I do design and trends training, we talk about the risk level. So maybe somebody isn't, fully comfortable with doing an entire green kitchen. So maybe they just do the hood or just the island, or maybe it's just a way that they have like a view through into another room. So there's a little like a sideboard piece that they can see that's green. So it's not in the main kitchen, or it's the bathroom or the powder room. So we are seeing it pop up in a variety of ways. It could be small little doses, or it's all in and the whole kitchen is color hue from top to bottom.
Yeah. And I was looking at those colors, and we're currently on the ProSource side, and in our marketing department, we are getting ready for color of the year, because we do a lot of stuff for that every December and January. And a lot of those colors probably aren't exactly those colors of the year, but they remind me of the colors of the year that's coming out for 2026 and the ones that we just did in 2025. And terracotta, I know, is also huge right now. I mean, I think not even just in cabinets, one of my friends, she's getting married, and that's like her bridesmaids dresses, so I see it everywhere, and I'm constantly reminded, oh, I need to buy my dress to be in this wedding, because you just held that up. But so I know that's a popular color, and that's not your typical blue or green. So people are starting to slowly even branch out further than just the typical hues that we see. And then those dusty colors that you pulled up too, those are super popular.
It depends on the house style too. I this year
Good
focused on training on timeless design, and when I was asked to talk about it, kind of gave me pause. I'm like, I don't know if I could tell you what's timeless, right? Until I'm in the future, and then I can look back and be like, no, that's not timeless. But it's really kind of back to the classics. And when you are designing someone's home, you have a period style, if it's a Victorian, or maybe it's a traditional farmhouse, or if it's mid-century modern. If you put items from that time period in there, they will remain more timeless than if you forced a look on a house that it didn't fit in. But we do see, even though these colors might be trending today, used in the right applications, color itself can absolutely be timeless. So we see like old farmhouse kitchens and Victorians have color cabinetry all the time. So there's definitely ways to work it in and make it timeless and not have it have a timestamp on today just because the color.
One of the things I took from Heather mentioned her timeless, the art of timeless design, her presentation on that. And one of the things that I took as an aha, we play in color. And so we're prone to want to talk about color all the time. But one of the things she mentioned is sometimes people are kind of have a signature color, or they're known for the area they live in, or the time period of their home. And so you remember your grandmother's sunny yellow kitchen, or perhaps a dusty blue of a lake house that you spent time in as a kid with cousins. And that really contributes to that art of timeless design. And that was something that she'd pointed out for me that was kind of an aha for me in that moment.
It's nostalgic for sure, right? I think that's a huge part of people wanting to move away from all white kitchens, is because they want to go back to maybe how they felt when they were more carefree, had less worries when they were a kid. That probably subconsciously plays a part in what their decision is. I know sometimes, like, even when we post, a kitchen remodel that's very neutral, white, everything, we'll get a lot of feedback of like, oh, well, this needs more color. But then it's like, okay, well, it comes down to the person that's, investing the money into the remodel. So I see it kind of go back and forth, but I think generally as a whole, this new generation at least is really moving forward to having color. And with cabinets, it's easier to switch out, in my opinion, like a cabinet color than like a countertop or flooring even, or even just switching out door styles. That can be easier than making some of those other big investments.
Colors
so
of personality, like you said to me,
exactly.
Colors for your wedding. It's the feel you want to have when you come home. It's maybe it speaks to you personally. And I think we kind of see that in a shift going from all white into some colors, as people want to put the personality into it. It's their home, and make it their own, and not just the same cookie cutter thing that they see in every other Instagram post. So personality is a big part of it.
Molly, we would love to coordinate with you too as you're identifying your colors of the year. We love to triangulate with other experts in the industry and see kind of the window that you're looking through, and did we get it right in tone and in saturation. So I'm very curious always. A few of our colors have been very close to some of the major paint manufacturers. And so we've, given up kind of a cheer of, yay, somebody else thought this was important too. But I'm very interested to see when you guys kind of come out with your point of view. We utilize all that as inputs to our information as well, because we're only as good as the designers that we design with.
So we actually, the materials that we put out are those big manufacturers like you talked
Oh,
about.
good.
So like
Okay.
Sherwin-Williams, Behr.
I think a couple
Yeah,
years
that's true.
ago, Valspar didn't come out with one color of the year. There was multiple colors of the year
Yes.
that they came out
Yes.
with.
Families of them, you know,
Yeah.
kind of, you mentioned
Yes.
the soft tones or the more vintage tones. They will come out sometimes in a family.
Which I think tells a story, right? So, I mean, if you have a big paint manufacturer who can't nail down one color of the year, what that says to me is people love color and it's a
Yeah.
personality thing. It's not just a green or a blue. So I remember years ago sending one of my teams to Cabas. I wasn't going and I wanted to know, this is when gray was first emerging. And I sent them with a couple paint swatches and I'm like, you need to come back and tell me which type of gray. Is it cooler? Is it warmer? Is it lighter? Is it darker?
Yeah.
And they came back and they're like, Heather, it's all gray. Like everything's gray, every type of gray, lighter, darker, warmer, cooler. And I think that's kind of where we saw the explosion of color on the scene too. It wasn't just one, it was just like color in general.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So if I'm a homeowner or a trade professional who is in shop for new cabinets, why should I choose Medallion or Yorktowne for my kitchen remodel?
Well, I'm a little bit biased, but I hope that we are continually refreshing these product lines to make sure that they offer the SKUs and the organization tips and obviously the shiny, sparkly finishes that consumers are looking for. It is our goal to always be on that cutting edge and always be a little bit trend forward, so you feel like you've got not only a great palette to work with, but a brand that stands behind you. You know, we're hopeful that we would continue to earn that partnership with your designers.
Yeah. And going off of that, for any trade professionals, designers listening, you have even more support because not only can you go in and like talk to our account manager at your local ProSource, but that account manager has gotten so much academic from you guys, right? You talked about the training, and there's such a close relationship with ProSource and Cabinetworks. So our designers are also having a lot of knowledge from Cabinetworks to then relay that information to the trade professional. So you're gonna have like a lot of support there with these brands, which I keep going back to this, but it gives you the confidence to move forward with these brands and know that you have a lot of knowledge, backup, and support there.
And we're going to continue to push the envelope with these brands, and we will follow on. We are Heather mentioned that she and her team are training on a launch that we are doing in January. We will have another pretty major launch next year because we want to keep the selections fresh and the designers very inspired to work with our product.
Yeah.
And I've had the opportunity to train ProSource designers. So I've been out in the field and done virtual training with some of them. So great group. And anytime you're, maybe not in a particular brand all the time, it's good to have a refresher on how to use it because each brand's a little bit different than the next. And I mean, I'm biased too, of course, with these brands. I'll turn my camera for a little bit, but I have them in my own office. So, and what I designed my office, of course, but I did it in a couple different brands to see what price point was going to be the best for my budget. And I chose Medallion because I was able to do things like these more furniture style looks with one cabinet. In some other products, I had to use more pieces and parts, and I didn't want that look. So I love the fluidity of using it like that. And I have heard from designers in the field sometimes like, oh, I didn't know you could do that in Medallion and Yorktowne. So I moved my customer in, fill in a high custom line. So you're unnecessarily sometimes spending budget of your customers when we can do those things and then open up some of that budget for some of the fun things the customer might want. Like maybe now they can do some more decorative glass, or they can upgrade their appliances, or they can get that stone countertop that they otherwise wouldn't. So it's a really great way that we can kind of bridge that gap from semi-custom to custom. And that's what I love about it.
Absolutely. So I understand you've completed 2 new product launches this year. Can you briefly share what those were for anyone that needs to be caught up?
So I think first and foremost, and Heather can provide you all the details, but we did that gigantic color launch. So we had 10 new finishes and the Finch door. And we are actually, I'm sitting here with some of our launch materials, but we are launching in January. Here's a sneak peek of the Gossamer stain,
Perfect.
which is a lighter stain that we're launching, as well as a host of designer-driven, absolutely designer-dictated new SKUs and modifications that, again, this is a designer's brand. So our designers absolutely dictate what we're adding to this. Heather, you could probably add better color than I could to that.
So this morning I did the third call with our existing customers on this launch that's coming out in January. And what I love when I cover the new product is all the reactions I see floating up from the bottom of the screen, the hearts and the hand claps. And it's not all just like new SKUs, but it's us adding modifications to things that maybe weren't available before, or we got custom quotes because we'll custom quote an item we don't currently have, where designers are changing the configuration of something. And we're like, aha, we got this multiple times this year. We need to make it an actual SKU instead of having to custom quote it. So it's just simplifying the design process and pooling that, crowdsourcing, I guess, that information that we get from our designers. So we hear, ceilings are taller, so we need higher cabinets and bigger doors. People don't like you said, that busy look. So we want to simplify the look of the design and have taller doors instead of multiple doors to reach those heights. So there's some sneak peek stuff coming out for January, but we have very excited designers. I'm getting a lot of emails like, can I get that now? When's that coming out? What's the dimension of this? So they want to start using it right away. That's exciting to hear.
No, that is super exciting. It seems like that was going to be my last question, is what is to come, but it seems like you have your hands full with a lot of product launches coming up too, and what you're already currently still pushing out and tidying up across all the showrooms. So it seems like a very exciting 2026 that is to come for Cabinetworks and Medallion and Yorktowne.
Well, I think we're going to squeeze another one out possibly.
I think so. I think that the great news is yeah, we are well supported by Heather and her team, who travel the country training designers, and both virtually and in person. And so that leaves the development team here with me to kind of continue to work on the newest stuff. So of course I can't divulge any trade secrets, but I've got a couple of them sitting behind me. If you look over my left-hand shoulder, including a new species and a continuation of that shaker journey that Heather referenced, I think are so important, as well as some new textures and styles that I think designers are just going to be delighted with.
I don't think we're ever done.
Awesome.
It's fashion forward industry. There's something new on the horizon, and we have to be that way. We have to evolve and change with that so that we can have what our designers need when their customers ask for it.
Absolutely. Well, that is great to hear. Thank you both so much for coming onto the podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
And I love that we really got to talk about color a lot here too. That's not something we typically always get to talk in depth about on the podcast. So I really liked that theme here. But I really appreciate both of your time and your expertise on all this.
Well, thank you so much, Molly.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on the ProSource Podcast. Please like and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast. Also, follow us on social media. Check out our website at ProSourceWholesale.com, local ProSource Wholesale showroom for all of your home remodeling needs.